What's up, what's up, what's up, everybody? It's that time of the day, that time of the week, and as always, that time of the month.
Yes, it is.
You're listening to the good.
The band.
Wait, let's start again. We're listening. You're listening. You're listening. Holy fuck. Mouthful of marbles. You're listening to the good.
The band.
The ugly. I'm Big Papa.
And I'm Jeff.
And I've got a mouthful of marbles. That's awesome. What? Drop the F-bomb 7 seconds into the show. Well, somebody's parents are not liking me right now.
Whatever.
What's going on, brother?
Not too much.
Gee, today is right around Halloween.
Yeah.
At least that's what we're telling ourselves.
Yeah.
What'd you come dressed as?
Myself. I'm scary enough.
Came dressed as an idiot.
Yes.
That's me. Yeah, so we pre-recorded this one.
Yep.
Because, I travel like a damn fool, living on Death Wish coffee and no-dos.
No-dos.
Yeah. But today we have something different.
Yeah, we do.
We are excited about this.
Really cool.
I've been excited ever since I saw our next guest work. What was that noise? I heard a throat in the air.
It's all good.
So, we're just going to jump into it.
Yeah, why not?
So, without further ado, we're going to bring on
Dalila.
Kriheli.
Yes.
Did I say that right, Dalila?
Hey.
You said it right.
Kriheli.
How's it going, man?
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So
you
for
get
those
bonus points for that.
Thank you. Hang on.
Bonus points.
You're starting at 0. I have plus 1.
No,
She said
both
no.
of you
She
got
said
one.
yes. No. He didn't get shit. Plus 2, and you're starting at 0.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know who Dalila is a photographer.
Yes.
That and correct me if I do anything wrong here, but you tour with bands.
I do.
And you're paid by the band to basically be the photographer with helping with some of the media stuff and capturing the moments. And then when you're not doing that, you're doing it on your own, kind of with some. It's an art. Let's face it. Delila's done some gallery showings and whatnot, and not any coming up, but she just had one in March. So and what caught my eye is I saw some great photos that you have taken. That just I've been a metalhead since the '80s, and I was like on the ground floor, like guys like Dee Snyder from Twisted Sister when they were first coming out in New York, and people they played local clubs up here. We had a club called the Lost Horizon that most of the bands before they did anything, Syracuse was one of their stops.
Yeah, they came through here.
Yeah, so we had guys like Twisted Sister, Warrant, Great White, Bon Jovi, Kid Rock, Lita Ford. All before they did any arena stuff. Yeah. They would come through here, and then we would just be like in our glory with some of the stuff that was still cutting edge. The Under the Blade stuff from Twisted Sister was that was when it was raw. People were like, "Who the fuck are these guys with the makeup on? And were they trying to be Kiss?"
Yeah. I know.
Kiss meets like L.A. Guns meets Vixen meets
New York Dolls.
New York Dolls, yeah.
And those guys, Twisted, they did like just under 3,000 shows before they broke.
Right.
This is mind blowing if you really think about it. It's like the Beatles playing at the Tavern, right? So
right.
Yeah, for sure.
It's unbelievable.
And I think that the photo that you posted a couple, I don't know, was it a week ago or whatever, marked 7 years since you had taken that picture of Dee. And still, I mean, Dee'd been around for a while. I mean, you figured they broke in, 85, 86? Yeah. 85. 83, they were still doing clubs. That's when I first saw them. I remember I was underage, and I had to sit in a chair and couldn't leave the chair.
What broke them was Stay Hungry.
Yeah.
That album.
Yeah.
That's what really broke them.
And then they went almost commercial with all the other stuff, where people started going, dude, you guys are still... No, they still kept it. And Dee still freaking... But that picture you posted was like...
With
there
the
it
hair
is.
up.
Yeah. He's he's got no shirt on. He's sweating like a pig and just put his whole heart and soul into his shows like he always did.
Yep.
And to me, that was just an iconic photo of
Thank
who
you.
he is. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twisted is actually one of my favorite bands to shoot. I mean, there's so much energy, there's so much going on. It is difficult because there's 5 guys, so you get limited time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But thankfully for me, I'm very fortunate to know the guys. I'm friends with Mark Mendoza and their manager, Danny Stanton.
Right.
I've known the guy, I don't know, probably 30 years now. And I'm so fortunate to have him in my life, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been able to shoot Twisted all these times, because I'm an independent. I have no affiliation with magazines or, e-zines or anything like that. So I got very lucky, and I get to actually shoot Twisted all night.
Right.
Which some selected photographers get to do, Mark Weiss, so certain people.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough to do it. And Twisted, besides a handful of other artists, they're one of my favorites. And I still believe to this day that Dee Snyder, hands down, he's the most incredible frontman ever to ever exist. I mean, I love Robert Plant, Ronnie James Dio. Yeah, I give it to them. They're, they're, outstanding. But Dee Snyder's there's something special about that man. And that show, I remember, a couple of minutes before they went on stage, the whole weekend was like washed out. It was raining. It was shitty.
Right.
A lot of the bands had to actually cancel, or they were just forced to cancel. They couldn't play, right? And I had chills. I had tears in my eyes. It was like the first few shots I was taking, I couldn't even see through my camera, because I knew that was it.
Right.
It was the last tri-state area show for the band. I mean, without AJ Perot, obviously.
Right.
But
right.
It was really sad. I mean, I've gotten to shoot Dee after that in a solo, but it's not Twisted.
No,
right,
it's just
right.
Without the 5, it's not Twisted. I mean, Mike Portnoy's a killer, but
yes,
yeah,
it's just.
It's not the same.
I think, and not to digress on just Twisted Sister, but I'm going to, because I don't care. Because he's like one of my favorite.
We got time.
One of my favorite bands. But I think the key thing with Dee is he left it all. He put every bit.
Yeah.
I remember when just Can't Stop Rock and Roll, and at the peak of the song, when he's just putting it completely out there, and there's no. Joey Belladonna is a friend of mine.
Oh, yeah. Love that
and
guy. Yeah.
Joey puts it out there, and I love Joey, and I highly doubt that he's going to listen to this, unless it's like a week. Unless it's a week before.
Let's text him.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell him. Say, hey. All you got, text Joey and say, I'm on Big Papa's. This is all you got to say is, I'm on Big Papa's podcast right now.
I don't have his number.
Oh, I do.
I would. Hold on. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah. But I love Joy. He puts it out there, but nobody puts it out like Dee. No. I can't think. No. Maybe years ago, Halford used to do stuff. And,
oh, God, yeah.
But no.
No, but Dee's special. There's something, and that's the reason I love shooting him, because I have so many shots, and not to, pat myself on the back, but I have so many shots that I look at, and I feel it. I can't just look at it. I feel it. The emotion in his eyes, in his body, everything about my shots of him that I happen to love. It's just, I got chills talking about it now, because it's everything to him. And when bands mail it in, we know.
Oh God,
yeah.
We know it. And watching him, never. I don't even think a second of any set that I've ever seen him play was like mailed in. Everything was 100%. Full throttle or bust. That's magic.
Would you say that your friends from Kiss did the same?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I watch Ace Frehley, and I absolutely hate, I've seen the same shows that the people next to me saw, and then I see online, oh, he was drunk, he was stumbling, and it's like, I could curse, right? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, you can say whatever.
Yeah.
The guy's given it his all. Like, how do you say that?
Right.
I mean, I know people bitch about Kiss because of their set list, but to this day, if I had $15,000 to see those last 2 shows, I'd go. I just don't have the money to do it.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I love them. It's a magical show. People want to say they're mailing it in, they're canning it, they're doing that. Okay, that might be true. I'm not one to say, but I go for what they are, the spectacle. And I have a great time at their shows.
It's a full production.
Yeah.
It's a production.
I get what I pay for.
Just like any rock opera that you might have seen in the past, or show like Rock of Ages, or any of those other Broadway shows that you pay buku money to go sit down.
Yep.
They put together a complete start to finish. Years ago, you could time the songs with the cannon fire and the fireballs and and the light show. How can you take that away from somebody and say, well, I saw the same show 3 times? Well, if you're going to go on tour and they duplicate that show 3 times, God bless them.
Right.
Because that's what they set out to do. If you're playing in a bar and you're ripping your heart out and you're up there just sweating and singing, it's a different show. It's a whole different energy. Yeah. So
can't please everyone.
Right. I was just curious if I heard the passion in your voice about Dee, but I knew that Kiss's shows were very theatrical, and I didn't know if you preferred one over the other. So,
I mean, passion-wise, I mean, you can't really with Kiss. It's a little different for me because I've again, it all comes down to money for me. I shot them once in Madison Square Garden, and that was my only opportunity to shoot them. For me, Kiss seem almost larger than life.
Yes.
And they seem so far away. Whereas Twisted Sister, you could feel like you could see the sweat, you could see this, and not that you can't see it on Kiss. It's just they seem like they're so far away. It's an odd thing to say, I know, but
unapproachable.
To me, that's what it feels like. Yeah, you could say that. Like even the last time I saw Kiss was right during this pandemic. They were in Atlantic City. It was the night after Journey played Atlantic City, and I was like, I'm gonna stay. I went to see Journey. I shot them, and I stayed. I was like, I'll just buy a ticket for Kiss, and I was like 3rd row on the side, and it was a great show. I'm so happy I stayed. I'm so happy, and I met Doc McGee, which I was like,
oh, that's cool.
Oh, there you go.
Brought tears to my eyes again because he's the guy I always dreamt of working for or with,
Yeah.
But I met him and I was like, oh my God, it's so cool.
There's a fangirl moment right there.
That could be your fangirl moment.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a fangirl moment. Yeah.
So when you're 90% of the time, because you're an independent, you're paying for the ticket like everybody else. Or
no, fortunately, again, there's a lot of bands that know me, so they're like, hey, if I go shoot, they'll throw in a ticket, and they're always like, hey, we'll give you a +1. I'm like, it's okay, I'll come, I'll do my thing. My friends support you guys, not that I don't, but if I want to bring a guest, they're going to support you, they'll buy you a ticket, right? So throw me a ticket, we'll do the shooting. There's some magazines that sometimes reach out to me, but being independent, the luxury that I have is I don't have to give up my rights to my photography.
Right.
I've had to sign 2 contracts. One is for the House of Blues in LA, where they're just like, hey, but I was able to use those photos. And when I worked with the Dead Daisies in the studio, when they were writing Burn It Down, it was a contract job. So I didn't have the rights to those photos, but when you're getting paid for it, that's, it's just like taking a photo and licensing it out. Yeah. So it's like, it's no complaints. And it was a trip of a lifetime to sit and watch those guys create Burn It Down, which is like absolutely mind blowing. I use that word a lot because I've been fortunate enough to witness it a lot.
Right.
I wish I had been in the room for that one.
Yeah, that's one of your bands right there, isn't it?
Yeah, I love the Dead Daisies.
Yeah, I just toured with them, but I do, when you mentioned in the beginning, like touring photographer, I toured with Anvil for about 13 years and I did photography for them. But my main thing when I tour with bands, I do a lot of merch because that's my gig. I love talking to fans. I love hanging out. I love watching the show. When you're working it, it's a different feeling. I don't know how many shows I've been to where I'm shooting and people are like, what did they play? How long was their set? I'm like 15 minutes. I don't know what they played. You're so zoned in. You don't have, I don't know the set list. Like, give me a break. I was busy.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Capturing the moment.
Yeah. You're in the moment. You're in a trance, essentially. I am, especially,
So how was that tour with John Corabi back?
I was so happy. You know what? Amazing.
Good.
John Corabi is one of the most passionate singers I've ever met. He's such a perfect fit for those guys.
Yes.
And again, I've come across a lot of fans that when John exited and Marco Mendoza exited,
yep,
and Glenn Hughes came in, there was so many people saying, screw the Dead Daisies. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, as much as I love those guys, and I'm friends with Marco, I work with Marco Mendoza, I have so much love and respect for that man. But when Glenn Hughes came in, I was like, guys, this is the voice of rock and roll. Like, this guy is going to bring it to a different, maybe not a different level, but different flavor.
Well, do they not? It's like they don't realize who he was. I mean, he was in Deep Purple with,
a rock and roll fan,
David Coverdale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I loved him. I saw him again. I saw him in Vineland, New Jersey, and I was just in awe. But yeah, I think John Corabi is a perfect fit for those guys. I think there was something about him that just clicks. It just makes sense. It made sense with Glenn Hughes, but it was different.
It was very different,
Yeah, the albums with Glenn Hughes, it sounded like a Glenn Hughes album.
Yes.
And with Corabi, it sounds like a collaboration
like
with the Dead Daisies.
Yep.
You hear Doug's signature sound. You hear Brian Tishy. You hear, you hear the different, But Brian, John was,
Yeah, because Brian had left for a while.
Yeah, when Dean Castronova came in.
Yep, Dean Castronova came in.
Yeah. He was a trip. That's the tour I did with them. Yeah, I did. I worked with them at the Burn It Down tour. I did merch for them, and I just did this U.S. Canada run with them.
Cool.
Running around like a chicken without my head.
Has there any, do you find that in the beginning of let's say you're on tour and you're doing multiple dates back and forth, first couple dates, do you find yourself almost fanning out a bit and watching and listening a little bit more to the music than you're pushing the shutter button, or do you say?
But that's why, like, I wasn't shooting that. I was doing merch management and I was doing other stuff with that. I was doing a production assistant, so I wasn't shooting. But that's a problem I run into when I shoot a lot of bands that I love. I find that I kind of like my hand comes down and I start doing this, and I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, wait a minute, before I do this, I better get the right shot and then relax. But I get distracted. I'm a fan. I'm a fangirl. I'll always admit it. I'm not one of those people who'll say, I'm too cool for this. No, I'll ask them for their autographs. I'll ask them for their guitar picks. I'll ask them for their drumsticks. Well, I'm a collector. It's like, hey guys, come on, give me a pick.
Right.
So you've got that big hockey jersey that I've seen in your photos. So tell us a little bit about that. But people who I know people are going to start searching out your website and your Facebook stuff. So tell us a little bit.
I'm a diehard New York Rangers fan. That's why I look like I'm like 95 and I'm really not. But I'm a diehard fan. And my favorite number is 222. And I wanted to put it on a jersey, and I love, the red, white, and blue. I love the Rangers jersey. So I got it. I put the 222, and because it's 3 numbers, the adult numbers wouldn't fit on it. So they put the child size numbers, but they put the 222 on it. And I wore it once when I went to shoot Ace Frehley when he did the national anthem for the Winter Classic games. The Rangers versus, I think, the Buffalo Sabres at Citi Field, which is, I could see it out my window. Nice. I could walk there, And I wore it there, and I didn't think to get Ace to sign it, right? And then one day I was like, wait a minute. I should have all rock stars sign it. I don't have one hockey player that signed that thing yet, Not one. I'd love to get Mark Messier, the old school Ranger guys.
Right.
But, so the first one I had signed it was Lita Ford at a convention. Then I had the guys from Twisted sign it. So the only one from Twisted that I didn't have is AJ.
But
the rest of the Twisted, Alice Cooper, all my buddies, all my favorite rock stars so far, a lot of them at least. So they're signing it. So that's just my, you could get a lot of things signed, photos, this, that, but that thing, eventually, if I get enough signatures, it'll be in a big frame up on my wall.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's so cool to like just put it down, you know. I had Steve Harris, right? And I pulled it out and he looked at it. He goes, that's not a rugby. Yeah, he's like, that's not a rugby jersey. I'm like, who said it was?
Yeah, right.
Sign it. And he's inspecting. Like, can you just sign it before you refuse it? And put a signature on it. I grabbed the photo with them and I ran away. You know.
Well, it's like,
have you shot Iron Maiden?
No, I never got to shoot Iron Maiden. I got to shoot Steve Harris.
Yeah.
British Steel. Not British Steel. I'm sorry. Oh my God, British Lion.
Yeah.
I got to shoot him right before the pandemic. Where was it? I forget what venue, but it was in New York. Thank you to Sal Italiano for that, and Joe Allen who hooked that up. But yeah, I never got to shoot. When I started shooting, I never got the opportunity to meet those guys.
Mm-hmm.
There came a time where I almost had the opportunity, but the PNC, there was some sort of mix-up. I couldn't get in on time, so it just went out the window.
Right.
That's too bad.
Yeah. I missed my opportunity with that, but who knows? You know, I'm still.
Well, they're coming back around.
My fingers crossed. Yep, they are. So, I have my fingers crossed. Who knows? Yep. But again, being independent is very difficult.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of bands want to look. They want to see numbers. They want to see that I have 24 million followers, and I don't. You know, right. I wish I did. You know, That's what they look at. Just like record labels look at, bands who say, okay, we're not going to sign you because we're looking at your socials and you don't have all these numbers.
Right.
So I fall in the same category.
Or rock stars that don't want to do podcasts if you don't have
a significant amount.
Not going to mention any names because I did last time and I got yelled at. So I'm not going to mention that name, but if you have anybody curious, go back over previous.
There's a whole vetting process, and I get it. I don't think any publicity is a waste of time, but I think some people look at it as, they spend so much time doing it, and when it doesn't get too much attention, it's like to them it's a bummer, So I understand that part, but also everyone starts somewhere. Right. So if you're a podcast that doesn't have millions of listeners, you'll get there. It's just it's a stepping stone, so you just have to keep going until you get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and anybody that we've had on, like you, I'm sure the same way you get into to shoot some folks that you might not have been able to, you give the shout out to. We thank those that are on previously that usually come back and say, hey, I know this one or that one. Jesus, Vinny, the drummer.
Oh my God.
Now I see we're mutual friends on Facebook, but that doesn't mean shit nowadays. But
no.
Vinny, the drummer's like, he does the interview, and 10 minutes later, I'm getting 7 different. I just reached out to these people, and we hooked 7 different people up that day.
Wow.
To be on the show, it was like boom. Pete Merluzzi, the tour manager for a lot of the stuff that Slash did, with and without Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Pete was the tour manager for them. Did some producing as well. Mm-hmm. He's been phenomenal. Just reaching out. He's like, hey, I'm working with this record label. I'm going to send you these guys. Reached out to me today, out of the clear blue today. It's like, you need anybody yet? I'm like, no, we're booked till February, but
beautiful.
I'm like, but I'll be in Florida in a couple of weeks. He's like, let's get together and we'll talk about the next steps. I'm like,
but the beauty of what you're doing is you could do it from Florida, right?
Right.
Set up a laptop and do it.
Exactly
right.
And just like for you, I mean, guys like Peter who are still involved heavily into the tour management of different, like the Guess Who's coming back out. They're on the road again. So who knows? But we might be able to one hand wash the other, turn you in a direction to be able to shoot some people or get hired to shoot some people.
That would rock.
So
I have my passport. I have my Canon. I'm ready to go.
So press credentials, photography credentials. Anybody ever give you shit if you're going on your own, or like you said, you've already hooked it up with somebody on a lot of case basis?
No, usually it's all cleared. The only issue I ever remember, but I still ended up shooting the show, was Ted Nugent in BB King's, and I love Ted. I love his music. His big mouth gets him in a little trouble, because I remember
sure does.
the first time ever in my life, I walked into BB King's and there's metal detectors, and I'm like, what is this all about? I've never seen this.
Right.
I walk in and they're like, you can't bring that in. I had my backpack with my camera. I'm like, well, I'm shooting tonight. They're like, no one's shooting. I was like, yeah, I'm shooting tonight. No one's shooting. I was like, okay. I bring up the email with, who set it up, who set up everything. And it's on my phone and I'm showing it to whoever, the security staff. They're like, oh, well, we have to get this cleared. I'm like, it's right here and it's cleared. Right. And it ended up, whatever. They're like, okay, yeah, everything's cool. Your pass is downstairs. I grab my pass. And the second Ted Nugent gets on stage, he goes, none of you pussies have your guns on you. And I'm like, dude, they're metal detectors. Like,
right.
But that's the only run-in that I had about, hey, was no one shooting. But, you got to stand your ground, too, because there's a lot of, that happens a lot. I know a lot of photographers that say, okay, you're set up, and they get turned away. I know the Live Nation portal, people are always bitching about,
oh, God,
hey,
yeah.
sometimes I don't get, the clearance 24 hours before. And some people travel a lot to these shows. I'll sit in my car and travel 5-6 hours for a show, So if you get a last minute thing, then you look unprofessional when you're like, well, I'm waiting here for an answer. And are you going to give it to me 3 hours before doors open? Like, there's no way I'm getting there.
Right.
So that's that. I see how that could be problematic. But no, I haven't really run into any problem. I've been pretty fortunate,
So
thankfully.
How long have you been professionally shooting bands?
Around 28 years.
Okay.
28, yeah. About 28 years now, yeah.
Yeah,
I started with a little point and shoot, but the issue with me is, I don't want to say an issue, but my thing is I'm a late comer to this business, and all the names that have made it, all the names that you guys know, they were around and very much plugged into the scene when magazines were out, when the Metal Edge, Rolling Stone, all those magazines, they were in there weekly, monthly, and I came up and it just started transitioning into digital, and it started like the magazines are starting to be faded out, and then internet came along. So I missed that boat, and it became harder because now everyone has a cell phone, and everyone that takes a photo, they hashtag it concert photographer. And I'm like, okay, it's a little bit,
or the ever so famous contributing photographer.
Yeah.
Yes, which just means anybody who sent a picture of their friend's garage band to a magazine years ago. I'm a contributing photographer. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Right.
You just sent a photo and you.
So it's just a funny thing that we play with words, but it's all good. I know where I stand. I'm very proud of my body of work. And sometimes I'll look at someone. I go through my archives like, wow. Who shot that? It's like, oh, it's me. Like, cool. Like, I didn't know I had that. I forget, sometimes you forget, I just spent the last 9 hours transferring like 6 terabytes of photos to external drive just to make room, on my computer because I need to speed it up, because this thing would probably lag if I didn't do that. I was like, nuts.
So with all the touring you've done, have you been overseas?
Yeah, I usually do. I've done Canada and Europe a lot, and U.S. I've never been to Japan. I've never been to Australia, stuff like that. It's just, the bands that I've worked for.
Have you done have you done like Hellfest and stuff like that, or no?
No, I actually just got to work with Marco Mendoza and Vakken, first time ever.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
But I've actually been there, and. Bad year to pick because they had to turn away over 35,000 fans because of the rain and the mud. It was nuts, but we got in. So I worked with Marco there. I didn't get to see any band but Marco because I had to work with them, but I was there. I was at the holy ground.
Right.
I've been to Knockout Fest, but no, I've never gotten to like Download and all those headbangers. Unfortunately, I haven't been to those yet. I know some of them are still running and some aren't. But, once Motorhead was gone, it's like, it's always the same bands. But I'd love to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to go to all those fests. Yeah. I've done Heavy Montreal, Heavy Toronto, stuff like that.
Sure.
But
that's cool.
Closer, a little closer. Yeah.
As you say, more on the East Coast rather than. Do you spend any time on the West Coast?
Yeah.
Or?
What's that?
Have you spent a lot of time on the West Coast?
Yeah, like I go to LA. One of my girlfriends lives out there, so I used to go visit her a lot, but not for work, just to hang out.
Right.
But, yeah. Yeah, and my brother moved, so I go and hang out there with him sometimes. Yeah. But that's just for, vacation, not really for work. But people, if you need to hire me, I'm around.
Yeah.
I'll
there
go.
you go.
Have passport, will travel.
Yeah, right.
That's right. Yeah, I'd rather be in Europe than Europe takes music a lot more seriously than America does. So.
Oh God,
yes, they do. Yeah.
I think they take
so passionate.
they take American music more serious than we do.
Yeah, they do.
They're
very passionate about it.
Well, you think about it. A band over here that's not that big, you go over to Europe and they're huge.
Twisted Sister, right?
Yeah.
Manowar.
Yeah, they're never even Manowar. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean,
they break them there.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, they break them.
Mr. Big. I mean, look at.
Oh God, yeah.
They sold out. The place in Japan there in like 12 hours.
No, it was less than that. 16 minutes.
Crazy.
Yeah.
16
That's
minutes.
crazy.
Sold out.
That's
like
insane.
85,000 tickets sold in 16 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think just like we've mentioned before, and shout out to Billy Sheehan.
Yeah.
Billy Sheehan, sorry. Well, promise I won't dial you anymore. That's a whole other story.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a little problem with my phone that day, and he was in where was he? Costa Rica.
I don't remember.
He's in Costa Rica, and I dialed him.
All
like
I know,
6
he was on
times.
tour, and he was none too happy.
No, he was pissed at me.
Whoops.
We're good now, though. We're good.
Yeah, everything's
We're
cool.
Good. But
you got to lock that phone.
yeah, got to turn it off as soon as I get off.
Yeah.
But I think when you find someplace like London or England, the whole country is not much bigger than New York State. So
right,
you're going to get.
I love London.
Oh, so do I.
I love that.
And when I was there, I had to make the trip. I took the train and everything to go just to see the Hammersmith Odeon because of all the bands that I followed as a kid. With Motorhead and Manowar and any of the big names, that's where they played. So just to get there and be like, okay, I was here.
Yeah,
all right, let's go. And the music aspect of it. Anybody can walk around the streets,
right,
and not really be bothered. Back then, this is back in the 80s. Like, I was there. The band Aha was recording the album "Take on Me," and not a metalhead type band at all. So I just happened to be in the hotel, and the hotel concierge is like, "Hey, you're a musician." Well, I got musicians living here at the hotel, and I met those guys. And they're like, yeah, hang out with us. So I went to, it was a Capitol Records, I think. And I think Pete Townsend owned the studio. He's milling around. Billy Squire's in the studio next to us. He's recording. We ended up going to lunch with him. I'm in England. I'm, 18, 19 years old, going to lunch with Billy Squire. And of all places, we hit Pizza Hut. He's like, finally a real English accent that I can understand. And I was like, Billy Squire.
Would you guys go to dinner someplace cool? Nah, Pizza Hut.
But I mean, people are walking around the streets. The guys from Duran are like walking into the studio, getting out, walking through the parking lot. Nobody's going, and this was back in the 80s,
right,
when they were at their peak, and no one's bothered them. I'm like, this is good. This is cool.
Well, it's kind of like that in New York City too, because we're kind of immune to that. People walking around here, you could have every celebrity walk by you, and it's like, yeah, so what? It's like.
Or we say that dude looked just like so and so, and then you're like, "Fuck, it really was him."
Yeah, it's like that. But I did the same thing. Like when you just said, to go to London, I did that with Liverpool, the Cavern. That stage where the Beatles played, I touched it, I looked at it, I was there, I was in the same room as them. It's like it's pretty unbelievable when you look at that tiny stage.
Yeah.
And where the Beatles went from there, it's like, holy cow.
Right.
But it was cool just being in the same room. And I also did their tours that you could do and go to John Lennon and all their childhood homes. So, I did a little trip there. I went to John Lennon's childhood home and Paul McCartney's and John Lennon's bedroom. And I'm like, oh my God, Paul McCartney's in the kitchen. They're like, yeah, they all stood right here, and this is where they were talking about creating the music, and it's like, do I believe this? And it's like, well, yeah, someone had to grow up here. It was
right.
It just happened to be them,
so
and
surreal.
It's like, wow, it's like it is surreal.
But it's funny because when I went to London, I went on a tour with people, and they all went and did like, what the fuck, Stonehenge and all that other shit. And I'm like, they're going to Stonehenge. I'm going to Hammersmith Odeon. Right. They're going to have high tea or whatever that shit. I'm going to a record store and like, in Soho. And it's just like, so I did my version, which is probably similar to any of ours.
Yes.
Right. Passionate about music. There's so much music history there. It's like, I don't care who got beheaded here. Go see the Tower of London. I'm going to go see Abbey Road.
I got to see Stonehenge too. That was pretty cool. But this, to see the Cavern Club is one thing. Even, and I don't take it for granted because I live almost next door to it. But even like Madison Square Garden, it's like,
right.
When you walk in there, it's like, Elvis played, Zeppelin played, like every big rock star, who were fortunate enough to play that stage. That's the place to be, and they did it. It's like.
So Jeff and I just had a couple weeks ago. We had a gentleman by the name of Ben Morrow, and Ben was Lionel Richie's guitar player for 20 some odd years.
Oh, right on.
And was just playing at a clubs like play 3 shows a night, running from one club to the other, and then he got the call up to play his first, hired gun kind of gig, and it ends up being with Tina Turner at Madison Square Garden. Like his first real big, it's like, you're on tomorrow night, meet here. And he's like, I'm rolling into like Madison Square Garden's like, no, really, I'm supposed to be here, And from that point on, he's spent 20 some odd years with.
Spent 22 years with Lionel Richie. He spent some time with Cher during her Vegas residencies.
Don Felder.
He played with Don Felder from the Eagles.
Yeah. And then,
that was pretty amazing.
But that was a really cool story, though, because he said he was driving somewhere in Vegas, because he lives in Vegas. He was driving somewhere, and his phone rang. He picks up and answers it, and the guy says, "Oh, this is Don Felder from the Eagles." And he's like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah. He says, "I had to pull over."
Yeah.
So he's like, "I had to pull over and like collect myself." And I'm like, and finally he figures out that it is him.
Was it in Vegas or when he lived in LA?
And he says, "Come on up to my house, and we're going to jam some songs."
He says, "You know this one?" And he starts playing. He starts playing Hotel California.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, I know that one."
I know that one.
Yeah, I kind of know that one.
But
Paul Stanley is a similar story too. He talks about he used to be a New York City cab driver and he used to drop people up in Madison Square Garden, and he says it, live. I used to drive people here, and I used to say, one day I'm going to play here. Right?
And there he is. Right.
Although there he is. He's playing there.
So, Dalila, you toured. You said you toured with Anvil for 13 years. And I've seen the documentary.
I started in 2011. Yeah.
I've seen the documentary probably 100 times.
Yeah.
So what was it like touring with them?
It's a long journey.
Okay.
It's
she's under contract.
Yeah.
No.
Gag order.
Unfortunately, it's hard for me to say because I still have relationships with a lot of venues and promoters and stuff, but they don't have. I see when they roll through town. They not that every band should have like the red carpet, but it seems like in America it's very difficult. They've been touring here for over 40 years, and just the respect level is just it's like
sucks.
Yeah.
You walk in, it's like, guys, where's the rider? Oh, we gave you a buyout. Well, guys, where's the food? These are grown men. Where's the food, man? Like, oh, well, you want stage shells, you want waters, give us your part of your buyout and we'll go get it for you. It's like, it's heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
But touring with them, it was great. I did a lot of merch for them all those years. I did merch. I dabbled in TM and stuff like that. But, getting to see a band that you love live night after night, year after year, it's killer. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you know, it's a party. It's a 24/7 party.
That's
you
cool.
know.
Yeah.
Europe's a little easier because they get a tour bus.
Okay.
You know, in America, it's America and Canada, it's a little harder because, you know, they have a van that, you know, they ended up buying, and, you know, Robbo drives it, and then he rocks, and, you know, and then he drives it throughout the night. So it's very taxing on them too. It's very, you know, it's a grind.
Yeah.
You know, needless to say, like every band is grinding it, but it's a grind, and they're just pushing forward. It's unbelievable to me. You know, after all these years, they just.
I mean, because you look at
all my life, you know.
You look at the documentary, and if you've watched it before, I don't know if you have, Mike, or not, but
you must.
It's a must. She's right. And
you must.
Number one, number two, to watch them, like, there was a scene where they did not get paid, and it's like, seriously. And it happened to him a lot. That's still happening. And you almost feel bad for him.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of promoters that still, you know, like when I go in, sometimes, you know, like when I was TMing, like and I put that in quotes because it's like, you know, I'm just helping my friends out. That's all I was doing. Like, I don't consider it a TM job. But, you know, I would roll in and you would see some promoters, like, you get a feeling about them, right? And it's like, maybe we should ask these guys to pay us before we set up here. And they're like, no, don't do that. And then at the end of the night, they're hemming and hawing, you know. They're like, I lost my shirt on this gig. And I take out my flashlight. I'm like, let me help you find it. Pay me. You know, like, pay the band.
Right.
Yeah, what movie? Fuck You, Pay Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fuck You, Pay Me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and even like, I don't know where we were. I think maybe in Texas, or I forget where we were. There was one venue, and the promoter said to Lips, he's like, I saw what you did in the movie. He goes, you know, and he just started threatening the guy's life.
Oh my God.
It's like, what are you doing, man? They're here, they're working. It's not like they're here and saying, hey, we're here, give us money, we're not going to play. Those guys play their fucking hearts out. And not only that, you know, they're contracted to do an hour. They're up there for an hour and a half.
Right.
You know, when I talk about Dee Snyder giving his all, these guys give it their all too. You know, they lay it all out there. Everything, every bit of energy goes on that stage. You know, the other 22 and a half hours might suck, but that hour and a half, it's pure, full throttle rock and roll, heavy metal. You know, and then when you have promoters just, you know, can I give you half the money or whatever it is? It's like, look, everyone's struggling. And then you have them, hey, give me a T-shirt. Hey, you know, we want 20% of the merch, and we want 20%, 10% of the music. But these guys have been writing this music for 40 plus years. What have you done?
Right.
To get a percentage of their music, you know? So
yeah,
it's a rough gig. Yeah.
I think Anvil, I mean, they've been doing it so long. And I've been a fan of theirs since about 83, I think. You know, it's like 84 maybe.
Yeah.
But any of those bands that have been around a while, they're going through the same shit. I mean, Jeff and I have been musicians our whole lives. We've been in a band together for the last 10 years. We go through the same shit. We're sitting there looking at the club going, yeah, he's going to try to stiff us tonight.
Yep. You could just have that.
There's no green room, you know. No, hang out in the back over there. Is there any privacy? No, you know, the fans, they won't bother. It's like, come on, guys. You know, it's like, it's rough. It's a rough gig.
Yeah.
But night after night, watching them rock, that's all, you know, like, I go in there, you know, when I set up merch, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you're in a van, you get shitty hotel rooms, you know, you don't get too much rest. You don't get really deep sleep, not a lot of comfort. And I'm setting up, and before they go on stage, my back is aching, my feet are aching, everything hurts. And as soon as they hit that stage, I don't feel a thing. It's like I'm floating. I'm like, you know,
right.
Rock and roll, you know.
It's how we
So it takes it away.
Yeah.
It takes it away.
I think musicians, we have that. If we played 3 shows back to back, after the first night, I'm 56 fucking years old, man. My feet are killing me. I want to go. I don't want to party. I just want to go home, and go to sleep. And then the next show, you walk in going, "Oh, how'd you feel?" I felt like shit. You know, I couldn't sleep till 3. And then all of a sudden, strum number 1 comes out of that amp, and it's like
done.
You're back. You're back on the adrenaline.
Yeah, you're back on.
The endorphins are there, and you're like, yeah. And then it's over, and you're like, damn it, I could have played another hour. You know.
Yep. Yeah.
It's.
Yeah, and the great thing about those guys is, excuse me, they're not too proud when, you know, again, a lot of promoters, they turn it into a festival. Oh, we want to put our friends' bands on. Like, come on, guys, it can't be 6 bands, you know, like 3 bands is enough. So they're like, okay, can we push Anvil to like midnight? Like, no, they don't need to be the headliners. We'll go on at 9:30. Let the friends go on at midnight, so we can get the heck out of here. And
exactly. Yes.
Because we got to go to the next town. These bands don't. They're local. They're gonna get up. They're gonna go work at their RB job.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna go whatever. Their 9 to 5 office gig. We can't. We don't have the luxury to do that.
Right.
We have to get. Plus, you know, not to, you know, to try to be delicate. These guys aren't. You know, they're in their 60s. They're in their mid 60s, pushing 70s. So it's like these guys got to take it into consideration. You know, like the promoters and whoever it is, like they've got to consider that it's not you know, you don't recover so quickly. Even at my age, I'm not, you know, I'm almost 50, but even at my age, I feel like, ooh, you know, like it's, it'd be nice if I was laying down by now, you know, 9:30, 10 o'clock, you know, 10 o'clock is rolling around. I'm like, all right, time to pack my boxes, you know.
Right.
You know, let's go.
However, shows are starting earlier nowadays.
Around here.
Which I love.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started playing, it was like, all right.
10 to 2.
And we were doing 4 hours. We were doing 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because that's what they wanted. Now, luckily, we're down to 3 hours.
To 3.
And they're instead of starting at 9 or 10,
it's like 8 to 11.
Yeah, we're like, wait a minute. I'm going to be home in bed by midnight. This is freaking and I'm probably going to make half the pay. This is
I'm okay.
Yeah, we're okay. You know, 3 hours.
You're winning.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a winning. Yeah.
So I mean, Jesus, years ago you didn't go on to 11.
Right.
You know, it was like, fuck.
I remember waiting for Guns N' Roses 2:30 in the morning. I'm like,
yeah.
Come on, guys. Like,
right?
What's going on? And I hated those intermissions, those long intermissions. Like, come on, go on stage, and you see the drum techs fiddling, and everyone's fiddling, and it's like,
yeah,
right.
But when you have a well-organized, like the Daisies, boom, they're on, you know, exactly every night, you know, with the exception of 2-3 minutes, every night it was boom, the same exact time. It's like, yeah.
That's a good. That's a good TM too.
Yeah, it is.
You know.
Yeah. Well, that's Tommy Dimitrov. You know, he rules. But yeah, you know, also front of house. But yeah, it runs. It's, you know, it's just run. It's run very professionally, and it's the way it should be with every show. But you know, you have a lot of BS going around. You know, a lot of shenanigans.
So who has been the best aside from Kiss and Twisted Sister? Who has been your other favorite to shoot?
Alice Cooper. To shoot, Alice Cooper.
Okay.
I love Ace Frehley.
Yep.
Except because of the light show, it's very photographer friendly. I love shooting Priest. There's so many. There's just, you know, but yeah, Alice Cooper's has been one of my favorites.
That's twice now.
I've loved him
twice
ever
now.
since I was a kid.
Yeah.
His name has come up twice as far as one of the most, you know, Pete Merluzzi, the tour manager. He was the same way. He's like, he tour managed AC/DC. He did all these guys. And he said, well, he's like, my fanboy was meeting Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Who almost clipped him pulling into, I think, Madison Square Garden. No, it was out in
I don't know where
Minnesota,
it was, but
I think.
Somewhere he was standing, and he said he saw this SUV come in, and it said "Coop" on the back.
Came flying in, almost ran him over.
Damn near ran him over.
And he's like,
yeah.
You know, I said, well, did you tell him, you know, hey, man, he almost ran me over? He's like, no,
I didn't.
God, I was just in awe that I almost got ran over by Alice Cooper. And then his daughter almost ran over him, too. So, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's one of my I've got so many stories about that guy. It's unbelievable. But yeah, he's definitely one of my highlights of my career, my life, everything. Like it all comes full circle with him.
That's cool. I like his guitar player, Nita Strauss. She's
absolutely
awesome. Amazing.
She's incredible. She's and even before her, she had Orianti.
Yeah.
Yeah, she ruled, you know. So I like that he has female guitar players. It adds a different dynamic to it. I think Kane Roberts is coming back because I think Nita's ill now. I don't know what's going on, but I think Nita fell ill, and Kane might be coming back for a couple of shows at least.
Yeah, until she gets better. I know she had knee surgery.
Yeah, well,
that was a while ago.
Too, yeah. Yeah.
What?
Some of the dumb shit you know.
I know.
No, and also she took a little leave of absence to work with Demi Lovato.
Yes.
I know that. She did a tour, and then Kane Roberts stepped in. So
Yep.
something, I don't know, I just saw something recently that Kane was gearing up for something, saying, yes, pretty soon I'll be back. And they need to announce something. So, yeah.
But she's a hell of a guitar player. Dear God.
Oh, yeah. She rules. She rules.
Who's the
dynamic,
one that
too, you know?
Who's the guitar player you just thought was just up there, not for talent, but was just looks? Didn't you say
For
one?
me?
Yeah, I thought you were arguing that with somebody.
No,
doesn't matter.
No.
So give us one of the most embarrassing moments you've ever had shooting
somebody.
I mean, I fell once. Like I was going backwards and tripped over. I mean, there's really no. Well, also my camera dying during an Ace Frehley show, but that's equipment. You know, you have equipment failure, and I remember it was the Best Buy Theater in New York City, and right before that, I did my 2 test shots. You know, I just framed out the drum kit, got it. I was like, okay, I'm ready. You know, I always do that just to make sure everything's dialed in, and the show starts, and I'm like, what's good? Wasn't a battery because I'm always traveling with like 7 batteries, 9 different, complex flash cards. And it's pretty embarrassing for a professional photographer to have to deal with it. But, it comes with the territory. It's the law of averages, right? Your equipment is bound to fail you.
Right.
So I ran out to the front. I'm sitting down by the merch booth on YouTube, trying to figure this all out, and people know me, yeah, it's the whole, the same community. They all know each other, and so I had a couple of people stand like, hey, is everything okay? I'm like, I don't know, like I'm just trying to figure it, and whatever. I didn't get to shoot them that night, but again, I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky that Ace Frehley, I've gotten so many opportunities to shoot. I think there's in 2 weeks or next weekend Peekskill, so I should be going to that gig, and then he's coming back to Long Island on November 11th, I think. So I'm so lucky. So even then, I was sweating it, but I wasn't.
Right.
It's just like shit happens. Like it happens.
Yeah.
So what can you do? It's embarrassing, but nothing ever happened that's I could say, oh my God, I wish I wish I could crawl under a rock and die. But yeah, tripping. I was just moving backwards at an Alice Cooper show on, the photo pit, and I didn't realize I hit my heel, but at least I saved my camera. I held it. I was going down. I was like, I don't care if I hit my head. I don't. This camera, I better save.
No
so
kidding.
I just kind of gripped it and went down with it. And that was it. Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's like fuck, but what can you do?
You ever venture outside of music?
And I do. Yeah, I love, I love doing, architecture, but I like old, like dilapidated, no soul, rusted stuff like that. I'll take pictures of that. So you might, if you go through my personal Instagram account, which I could send it to you, personally, but stuff like that. Yeah. But I always, I don't carry around my professional camera everywhere I go because, my shoulder hurts a little bit, so constantly carrying it around, it's a lot of wear and tear, but I'm always taking photos. My iPhone it's like almost a disease. Everywhere I go, I'm like this,
I'm giving my daughter a shout out right now because my daughter is every iPhone upgrade she's had is not because of anything other than the number of photos on it. I keep telling her, download them to a flash drive or the cloud. No.
Yeah.
75, 80,000. I think 80, last film was 80,000 photos on her phone.
Good God.
And she doesn't take just one. It's like, why did you just
take 4?
She took 4 pictures of a flower. I'm like, we tried to make it through the Smithsonian. It was a photo fest. It wasn't, I was like, are you taking any of this in, or are you just taking a picture of everything? She's like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
I'll never forget this. I'm like, I won't either.
Right.
I don't even need these photos. I will not forget you taking.
No, because they'll be on her Facebook.
17 pictures of a photo of a flower. This is even before when she was younger. But same thing.
I love taking pictures of food too. I mean, but I also cook, so I like to, I like to plate it up real pretty, and so I'm definitely one of those geeks that have to take photos of my food and every restaurant. Even my mom knows when we go to dinner. She goes, "Oh, Dali, you didn't take your photo yet." She's like, right away she knows. I'm like, thanks. Okay, we could eat now.
And your parents were artistic?
Yeah, my whole they're all artists. So that's where it comes from for me. I just happened to pick up a camera, but my mom's a painter. My father was a painter. But he kind of had to give that up, when me and my brother were born, just to get a 9-to-5 as a cab driver, just to make money. My uncle's a painter. My grandfather was a painter. So yeah, they're all very artistic.
That's cool.
So yeah.
Apparently her brother's not.
Chose me. Yeah.
Him.
What's that?
Apparently her brother's nothing because she didn't mention him.
Well, he doesn't. He's more of a graphic artist, not a painter. But cool. He's a writer.
Oh,
yeah, he's an incredible writer. But yeah, my whole family it's pretty amazing.
You could give your brother our address. He can come up and kick Jeff's ass for saying that.
No, it's all cool. No, but what I found out later on in life is my grandfather, who's famous for his art, for his paintings. He actually, his love was photography. That's what he wanted to do, but he just found that painting, I guess, was his calling. Mm-hmm. But he really loved photography. And then, later on in life, when I started, when I became more of a pro, and it became apparent to my family that this is it. Like, there's nothing else for her, because she's not focused on anything but this. My mom's like, this is what he wanted to do all his life. He was a photographer, right? I was like, so that's, to me, it's like, okay, so now I understand it. Because I was always like, I can't paint a freaking stick figure, and my mother's painting these portraits, like, looks like they're going to talk to you, Right.
That's so
And
cool.
as a kid, me and my brother, we used to watch Bob Ross on TV, and Mom, I want to learn how to paint. And she's like, okay. So she got us paints, and she's like, I walked into your room and it was green everywhere. Just everywhere. She's like, I had to take the paints away from you. Like, it was crazy.
There's more than happy trees.
She was painting more than happy trees.
Happy trees. Yeah. She's like, yeah, I couldn't. I was like, okay. No. I wish I could learn, but it's like, some people have their calling. You got to stay in your lane. So I'm staying in my lane.
I think what you do is incredible. I hope to.
Thank you so much.
We just want to keep seeing more stuff from you. It's different than watching or following. Like, you see I have friends of mine that are actors and actresses, and Getty Images and all that. It's like, yeah, you made a business out of taking pictures of guys and gals on the red carpet, but they're not doing anything. They're not putting their heart out there. As I mentioned in the beginning of the show, and we're coming full circle, you capture the moment, you capture the part where you see it. And it's very impressive. So for those of you listening at home or watching this on YouTube, we'll have the links. You got to go see your work.
Yes.
And I see you're rocking the
shirt.
Rockstarpics.rocks.
Yep, rockstarpics.rocks.
Perfect.
Yep.
We used to have that .rocks. That's instead of .com. Remember we had side effect .rocks?
Yeah.
It used to be .com, and I lapsed on my payment. I remember I was in Portland, to house sit for my brother, and I was like, oh, I want to upload, I took some photos before I went there. I was like, oh, I got to upload them, and I see it's gone. I'm like, what happened? I thought I had one more year left because I was doing like the 5-year plans.
Right.
So I kind of like, brain fart.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me upload it. And it happened to be some Japanese or Chinese company bought it out, and it's like a sex toy shop or whatever. So
my God.
Don't go to .com. It's not me. So, .rock sounds pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rocks.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with that. So
yeah, that's a good.
My website. The website's pretty wonky. I don't know what's going on with it, but I even have it. It says there, just go to my socials. There's a link tree, and list all my socials there.
That's cool.
That's where people go anyways.
Before we let you go, let's see here. Yeah, we're wow. Dude, this is very rare. We're like almost spot on. So just
it's weird.
Hey, look, we could do like a Joe Rogan 5-hour podcast. Let's go.
Trust me. No, and what I'm going to say, we definitely want to bring you back and do this again. Because there's so much that we haven't even scratched the surface. And somebody's passionate. I mean,
somebody's passionate as you.
Being musicians ourselves. Yeah. This to us. Knowing that you're talking the same talk as he is, knowing the history and some of the things. Yeah. This conversation could last hours. Yeah. Trust me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm his version of Eddie Trunk.
Yeah.
What am
awesome.
I?
I know dumb shit, and I don't know why.
And I'm more the obnoxious Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Who I idolize.
Okay. I love Joe Rogan.
So
I can sit there and watch him for hours.
Yeah.
Hours, and I do. Well, I work out while I watch him, so I can listen to him for hours.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Anybody that you haven't, this was my question to think on, anybody that you haven't shot that it's still in the bucket list that you're like, someday I'm gonna
do this one.
Shoot Paul McCartney before he
falls asleep I'd love to shoot piano. Paul McCartney. There's so many. White Snake. I mean, I did it with a point and shoot, so it doesn't really count to me.
Okay.
You know, that was just like, I ran up to the front in Jones Beach and I said, I love Tommy Aldridge. I want to shoot him. You know, there's a lot. There's many, like it's so many to list. You know, like Sabbath is gone, so I can't do Sabbath, but Ozzy, love to shoot Ozzy.
Right.
You know, so there's just so many.
See, and that's where my age trumps both of you because I'm old enough to remember when all these guys were playing, and I've seen Iron Maiden like
you're
9 times.
You're 4 years older than me.
Yeah,
Relax.
Well, I was old enough to go see a concert, and you're still asking your parents' permission. So shut up.
There's one band that I got to see live. It's almost impossible, but it's a Japanese band called Sika Matu.
Okay.
Look them up. They're like Japanese Kiss. I got to meet him. Actually, the singer drew his face on my arm, and I got it tattooed.
No kidding.
I got to meet him at like a con in Texas, and I'm obsessed with this band. Somebody got me really obsessed with them. John Arrigo from Kick-Ass Forever. What's up? Happy birthday. But yeah, he got me obsessed with this band, and I got to meet them, and they did a show, so I got to see their show. But if they caught you with the camera, not even taking photos, if they caught you even holding one, it's out the door. You can't even take it. So there would be a dream band if they came to America and did a show, and I could shoot. It would definitely be a dream.
How can you take cameras away from a Japanese audience? The most stereotypical piece of equipment in the world.
Yeah, I know. It was a con. And it's really odd because even at that con, they were saying all these fans, they came from all over the world to meet these guys. And they said, don't touch them. Americans are different. Japan, there's a different culture. It's a different way. It's a different respect.
Sure.
Don't touch them. Get your autograph and walk by. Say what you want to say, but just keep the line moving. Pretty much is what they're saying. And I get up there, the New Yorker, right? And I go to the guy, Dimit Kagori is his name, the singer. And I said, on his website, he used to have a little caricature face, this tiny, on the corner of his website. I said, your face? Because he spoke broken English. I mean, he'd spent a lot of time in America, but it seemed like he wasn't understanding me. Maybe I was talking a little too fast. I said, your face on website? He goes, yeah. I said, draw. And I wanted it like this small. I said, please draw, and I want tattoo. He's like, oh, tattoo. And he starts doing it this big. I was like, no. This is going to cost me 1,000,000 yen, not too big. And he's laughing at me. He goes, and you drew it this big, right? And their whole staff, they're like, holy shit, let's take photos of this. So they started taking photos of him drawing it. He throws his arm around me. We take photos together. I'm like, am I going to get in trouble? The guy's touching me. Like, I started flipping out, right? But it was the coolest thing ever. And he goes to the guitarist next to him. He goes, oh, tattoo. He's like, tattoo? No. He didn't believe I was going to get a tattoo, right? So then the next day, I couldn't get the tattoo that night because they were doing another autograph session the next day. And I had a bunch of friends that couldn't make it. And they were giving out programs, and I'm like, I'll get a couple signed for my friends because this is rare. Like these guys don't do this. They don't come around. So I got back online, and he grabs my arm and goes, "Oh, you are dirty. You don't tattoo. You don't wash." Right? I said, "Oh, no, it's okay, man. Like I'm gonna get it tonight." So then he saw this that Alice Cooper wrote on me. Alice was here, and he goes, "Alice was here. Demon was here." So he's twisted my arm around. He wrote, "Demon was here." I don't know if you see it.
Oh my God!
Yeah, right there.
Demon was here.
Yeah.
And I went and got that tattooed. Right. So all of this and this. So that was cool. But I'd love to shoot them.
That's cool.
They're one band I'm dying to shoot, but it's just I don't know. I don't know if that's ever going to be a possibility, but who knows?
Fingers
Anything's
crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
When you put it out in the world, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
I mean,
yeah, but the whole thing is they came out in the 80s, and the name of their band is Sikama 2, means end of the century. So no matter where they were in their career, their whole pact was we're breaking up. We don't care. And that's what they did. They broke up at the end of the century in 2000. But they decided in like 2010, we're going to get back together. We're going to do something. So they started doing shows. They started doing all this stuff. And then they did this Comic-Con thing or A-Con thing.
Right.
And I was like, what? I'm going, you know.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it ended up on the DVD in their book. It was pretty freaking cool. Yeah.
That is cool.
I wonder if Jason Charles Miller knows anything about this.
Look it up. I'll reply to that email that we have.
Yep.
And I'll send you their thing. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Such good stuff. This guy sings on his head upside down. And this little crown, it's like, there's a theory that, you know, he's so into the Statue of Liberty that's where it's from, you know, this whole American culture with this.
That's cool.
I don't know. I have no clue if that's true, but
hey,
you know.
It's your story and you're sticking to it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
We did a 2.5 hour long podcast about someone we called the embellisher, and it's when we first started this, it was about basically a guy that we knew that just embellished so much shit in his life that he began to believe it. And one of them was he was a contributing photographer
for Playboy.
To the point where
he
had business cards made and everything. So that's where that's
pretty cool.
The phrase contributing photographer came up. And actually
supposedly he was a drummer for Warrant too.
Oh, that's bullshit. Let's not even go down this ugly road.
Yeah, I know. He had road cases made that said Warrant on it, but he had no business at all.
I can't believe
Maybe it's a police warrant. Maybe there was a warrant after.
Oh, there you go.
There's definitely a warrant out there.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's hiding dead. What's in the box? His dead body's in there.
His body will be in there. Anyways,
I know.
Dalila, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I definitely want to book another one before we get too far in the weeds on our booking, but just
right on.
And anybody that you know that you think would have fun doing what we just did here today, let us know.
Anyone would.
Yeah.
I'll let them know. Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you want to call Ace and tell Ace to be on the show.
Well, actually, no. If she wants to call Marco, she can.
Oh, I know you would definitely.
I can.
I would.
Marco Mendoza, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give him a call. Talk to him. Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Jeff just fanboy moments on his shorts right now.
I'm going to tell you, that guy's one of the most beautiful human beings on this planet. He's just light. He's a ball of energy. He's light. He's so appreciative. He's such a hard worker.
And he's played with so many people.
You talk about passion, but sorry?
And he's played with so many people.
He's a guy, right? He's a guy. Like every band that he's played with is like, what?
I know.
And that's where when I went to see Journeys, when he was in the band.
When he was in the band,
I have to see Marco. Yeah, it's like that was a dream come true.
The Journey cover band?
No.
Journey.
No, the Journey.
Journey.
No, we kid. Once you hit a certain limit of how many people are not the original, like Foreigner is just a cover band now.
Yeah.
They're just the Foreigner cover band.
Tribute.
Yeah, no, not a cover band. Tribute band. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'd like to get Jack Black.
There's some originals. There's some originals left, right? And Neil Sean and I mean,
him
he's not
and
the only one.
Jonathan Cain.
Yeah, I don't know.
But whatever.
That's a whole other podcast.
It is. Really is.
Yeah. Jonathan Cain, Neil Sean.
Yeah.
Is that are those the only two?
Actually, Jonathan Cain's not even a founding member.
No, he came in after.
He came in after.
He's one of you.
6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. What do I
Well,
know?
you would have known that right off the bat if you were as old as me, but you're not. So.
I was a baby when they came out.
You two better respect
Maybe
your
not
elders.
even
That's
born.
all I'm saying.
It was Greg Rowley, by the way.
Whatever. Dalila, send me in the email as well. Send me your mailing address. We want to get out
Want to get a
the
T-shirt?
Good, the Band, and the Ugly T-shirt that we have all of
Will do.
our guests.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Definitely.
Thank
And
you.
anything that you have coming up in the future, any shows, anywhere, if you're going to be around this upstate New York area, let us know. We would love to meet up and share a cup of coffee with you from Dunkin' Donuts.
Absolutely.
or Death Wish Coffee. We want to give a shout out to Death Wish Coffee.
I can't drink. That'll kill me.
It's not as bad as you think. Get the cold brew. Do the cold brew. You'll be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
We will.
How much caffeine's in there, though?
It's the highest caffeinated coffee in the world. We are going to be having the vice president of Death Wish Coffee on to talk about how cool they are.
Yeah.
They have full stage PA set up in their break room for their employees.
I love it.
Dropkick Murphy will go and they'll play there, but most of their employees are musicians, so they can just jam whenever they want. When I saw it at their headquarters in Saratoga, New York, I was like, is that for shows you put on? He's like, no, it's for the employees just jam there. We're all musicians. I was like,
that's so cool.
I just want to work here just to do that.
Just tell them to send us a box of shit.
Set up your podcast there.
That's it. Dalila said, that's all right. When we do, we're going to have you come up and shoot it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
When the Dropkick Murphys are there. There you go. Boom. Saratoga is only a 4-hour drive, 3.5-hour drive. So there you go.
It's nothing. I got my Jeep. I'm ready to roll.
Boom.
There you
Done.
Go. Done.
Hey, write that down.
Let's
she
do
said
it.
that. This is a non-binding. This is a verbal contract.
Verbal contract.
Yep, verbal contract. She says.
Verbal contract.
Just send a verbal signature, and we're good. Anyways, thank you so much for being on the show, and
really appreciate
you.
Can't wait to have you on again.
Yes,
absolutely. Likewise.
And guys, check it out. Check out her pages.
Rockstarpics.rocks.
Yeah, and all the socials. All the socials.
Every one of her socials.
Yeah. So we can't wait to have this up the end of the month.
Yep.
So when you guys are listening to this, it's October.
It's October 30th.
And,
Happy Halloween!
Yeah. See,
there you go.
Jeff and I dressed up like idiots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Every day. It's weird.
Every day. Like, how does it happen? Do you have a memo out?
Yeah. Well, we rehearse this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We wear suits all day, and then no, we don't.
No.
Anyways, thank you so much. We're going to say it again, and have such a great rest of your week, and can't wait to have you on the show.
Guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Peace.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Later. Jeff, there it is.
That was some fun, man.
Awesome show. Once again.
Yep.
We want to thank our sponsors. Yeah, we got to.
We have to. Great Hawk Medical Supply.
Sharky's Event Center.
DJ Life's the Beach.
Good Nature Brewery. Are they still open?
They are.
Are they? You're going to get some free shit?
Some free shit?
Yeah, I doubt it.
Print Shop Underground.
Snarky Productions.
And Toffee Break Toffee.
I should have made you mention Snarky Productions.
No.
Well.
No.
What a great show. Special thanks again, Dalila Kriheli, photographer extraordinaire. You've been listening to The Good,
The Band,
The Ugly. I'm Big Papa.
I'm Jeffy.
And happy Halloweeny to everybody. We thank you. We couldn't do it without you guys listening and watching. And
get on YouTube and like and subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe to our YouTube shit. We will talk to you next week. From? I don't know.
Here.
From here. Peace. Say recording stop now.
Is it really?
Yep.
Recording stopped.
Told you.
There's that bitch's voice.
I hate her.